move on with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent, unless you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council meeting. When I'm out of school, I'm just going to go. Be out of school in a couple of weeks. I'm just going to come to one. I don't care.
Oh, there we is.
All right. Good morning, family. How y'all doing? This is your morning cup of bro. That's going to be a strong cup this morning. It's going to be strong, short, and sweet, because our brother over here has stepped into another role in his family life, which means that because he's the strength and pillar of his family, we got to make sure he got to be straight, because trust and believe, I understand how this go. First of all, let me say happy birthday to my sister. She would be 79 today. So she passed a year ago. She would be 79. And so just happy birthday, baby. We appreciate you. Still keep looking out over us and guiding us, because, we need it, especially in this world as crazy as this world is now. Thank you all for my Sunday morning tie. Go ahead on, baby. All right. We appreciate that. All y'all kick y'all ties in, since y'all going to give y'all extra ties in to them people this morning. They ain't really talking about nothing. Okay, anyway, let me stop. So we had a little conversation about this young man, and he went to LSU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, young man, 22 years old, accused of being in a traffic accident and taking the life of a 78-year-old man who was driving, and it come to find out it wasn't him. And see, this is what happens. So we have to remember that when schools recruit our young people, and especially was more prevalent before than it is now, it's always, we're going to help you, get you and your family out of this impoverished state that they're in. You're empowering, you poor, and we can help you out. We can help you. And this has been ongoing since the 60s, when you had one of the coaches, and I want to say it's Haskins is his last name. Was it back in the 60s where he had a Texas team, a little D2 school that went and beat a big school because he had all black players?
I'm thinking so.
Was that his name, Don Haskins?
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
But because he knew not only the value of the black player, but he also understood the value that they would bring for, that's the umbrella right there.
Yeah, I'll pull it back.
Yeah, we'll pull it up in a few minutes. Yeah. He also understood their value as human people, as humans, right? It wasn't just about, we're going to recruit you because you black and you athletic. These were young men who are super highly intelligent and who could play the game. And for a long time, if you go back and look at that interview with Reggie Jackson, he went to go play for Alabama, and Paul Bear Bryant refused to have him there. So he was talking about how much racism was in baseball, and he is in baseball. So you see now, if you look at the players are either Cuban or Dominican or whatever. Very few black players or Africans and American players go play Major League Baseball anymore. They're either Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, all of these other. They still black, but they just not here. They're not from here. Very few players here anymore go play that sport because number one, it takes a different level of skill, and number two, you know, it's like they're not being recruited. So what happens with these schools, these big schools go and they recruit by saying they know that you have talent, but they also understand very clearly that you come from the family that might be either broken. They still African people, so they just got dropped off at a different port. And Puerto Rican means Portuguese and African. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But the recruiting thing is, okay, you know what? We know we can help you out in this impoverished situation. You may not have your dad there, whether he is dead and gone or left or whatever, and it's your mom raising you and your children, so we can help you with your finances and all of this other stuff that you may need so that you can go ahead on and get your family out of poverty. And typically what happens is, and Ray Lewis' story is a great example. And he talks about how he was like, man, I had a carton of eggs from his grandmama and one T-shirt and a pair of pants, and that's how we got to Miami. And so then what he does is he turns around and he focuses all that he can on making sure that he takes advantage of this opportunity to get his family out of poverty. So the expectation is that our children are going to be the one to take us out of the situation, no matter how we got there. So we're just building the background to this story, right? So then once again, the HBCUs get pushed to the side because the bigger money and the bigger stage and a bigger opportunity is given to these other schools. The Ohio States, the Michigans, the Michigan States, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Texas, the Florida states. But almost every state other than Michigan has an HBCU in it. Michigan doesn't have one. Now, these other schools were built again because they were either done by formerly enslaved African people. Grambling was built in 1962 by a black man. So I just found that out a little while ago. Tuskegee was built by a black man, Booker T. Washington. Bethune-Cookman was given by school by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. So these are all schools that we have. Now, Hampton Institute, a bunch of other ones, Wilberforce, Wilberforce was bought by the not the AME either. Yeah, AME Church. And when it was going out of business, it was purchased by the AME Church. But the church is named after a abolitionist in England, Wilberforce. So most of these HBCUs are persons who were, I feel sorry for the fact that I had black children with a black woman. So instead of them being treated like everybody else, no matter how horrible I treat them, Hampton Institute is one. So we're going to start another school to send these black children to. Berea College in Kentucky was built by the abolitionists there for poor Appalachian children and formerly enslaved children to come to school to get an education. And we don't have Negro History Week, which turned into Black History Month, which gave us Dr. Carter G. Woodson, without that school. No, baby, you right on time because we didn't start till 9:30. You good.
Mhm.
So now you got all of these dynamics here, right? You got these dynamics of the big schools with big money. You got one coach back in the early 60s that say black players can play with white players. You have coaches like Paul Bear Bryant who's saying, I don't want these people on my playing ground till he found out that, hey, wait a minute, these white players getting beat by these black players because these black players are.
But you remember what happened, don't you?
Go ahead on. Shoot the shot.
Nah, remember he went out there, took Alabama, and they went out there and played USC.
And
what happened?
Wore out.
Right.
Okay. So from that point on, he was recruiting black players.
Facts.
Okay. So he took his, and the only player that he had at the quarterback position that was somewhat near black was Joe Namath.
Raphael, he just did a public PSA. I had to put it up.
Okay.
He said, "P, sorry for the interruption, but there has been a turn in the lynching in the case of the young man here in Mississippi." He says, "Go to Willie D. latest and get the update and share it. Facts will be. I'll be looking at that tomorrow.
Ooh,
I'll be looking at it today and be talking about it tomorrow."
Yeah, absolutely. I might have to not teach tomorrow for about an hour so I can we can talk about that. But facts. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I get it. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So now what we have here is the banter that white schools are using is we can get you and your family out of poverty if you come and play with us. Meanwhile, black schools are begging people to anything to support. Anything. So now what if I go to a big school, then I'll get more exposure as compared to going to a smaller school, which I may or may not get any exposure. So back in the 70s, of course, 60s and 70s, you had people like Walter Payton and a lot of oh my goodness, he used to play for the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs.
You ain't talking about the Nigerian Nightmare.
Christian Okoye, but this is before him.
Oh, before him. Who
played
for
Lanier.
Dawson.
Lanier.
Okay.
Yeah, he played he played for Jackson State, and then you got Jerry Rice who come out of Mississippi Valley State.
Facts.
Okay, so this is 70s and 80s where you had these players who were like across the board were far better than anybody. Doug Williams comes from Grambling,
right?
Coach Eddie Robinson, right? But the demand that was given and placed upon these men were that you're going to be men first.
Thanks.
Okay. So now let's move forward to this situation with this young man.
Pull it up. Hold on. I'll pull it up for you. Let me pull it up on the screen. His name would be Kyron Lacey.
Kyron Lacey, I believe. Yes, sir.
Kyron Lacey right here. Young brother Kyron Lacey.
Right. So now they find out that he is not. We still live?
Yeah, we live.
Okay. We find out now. Material comes out that says this young man wasn't even involved in the traffic accident. It was a woman. And so the police officer, who was not smart enough to realize that his best cam was on, tell somebody to do something different and sign papers claiming that it wasn't her, but it was him, but it was a young lady. Now, at that time, the young lady could have come out and said, hey, look, this was wrong. It wasn't him. And actually, I want to say the little bit that I saw of the videotape, I think the young man, the man that died went through the light and hit somebody else, right?
And this was cold-blooded because the lawyer, because Kyron was not to cut you off, his lawyer. I'm just reading a little paragraph. It says, newly released video footage has emerged in former LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacey's car crash case, which has made the case more mysterious. To be exact, Matthew Ory emphasized that Lacey was 72.6 yards behind in the vehicles.
Okay, so he wasn't even close. 72 yards, 70 yards away. That's 120 feet away. He wasn't even close. That's minimally 7 car lengths.
Mm-hmm.
No, more than that. That's 12 car lengths away. Cars about 12 foot long, 10 foot long. So you between 10 to 12 car lengths away before you even get near this accident. And this young lady is the one who hit this man. So then instead of the young man fighting for his life, literally, he takes his life because they were going to throw everything down the drain. He was projected first or second round draft pick, all of this stuff.
The name you was thinking of is a good brother, Marcus Fielder.
Yeah, Willie Lanier. Willie Lanier, right. He was a linebacker for the Chiefs back in the 60s, early 70s. Willie Lanier, thank you.
But did you see how the NFL did him too? They cut him off. They didn't even let him come before he was even proven not guilty. Just how they. But see, that's what probably messed the young man. He couldn't even couldn't go to the combine.
Right.
You know, a lot of time this is probably ways he can get his family out. And the police officer coerced the woman to say this.
Right. And then she didn't have the decency in her own spirit to say, hey, look, that's wrong. It wasn't him. He didn't do anything. She could have ended that. Okay, I'm going to sign this paper, but you know what? That's some BS. I'm not doing that. I'm not, just for me as a white woman to be able to get out of something happening to me. Because she's still going to get what she's going to get a traffic fine, slap on the wrist, and that's it.
And this brings us back to the police system again.
But this the system, period, whether the police are involved in it or not.
Right.
So what are we doing that's different, right? How are we talking to our young people that are going to get that are moving forward in this stage that's different? We have to talk to them differently. We're not.
Facts.
Because it should have been, hey, look, well, I don't care what the deal is. We're going to get through this and we're going to find the truth. So the truth comes out, 6 months after he could take his life?
And they ruined him.
Right. And they were going to do that anyway. He just happened to be the one on that at that time.
Facts.
Right. That's no different than the player that was accused of rape, spent claiming his innocence.
Right.
He spent all of this time in jail, and then he tried to get out and go and, kept himself in shape, though he wasn't in football shape in jail. But
I know who I can't.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying.
But then he goes and he finds her. He gets found innocent. So years later, she recants the story.
Right.
Years later,
right,
she recants the story. So then, okay, let's say this. Let me give y'all some advice for y'all young people that's coming up, that's getting ready to go to these colleges, and you are hooping them up and this and that and other and all this other stuff. You better damn tell them what kind of shit they're gonna face when they get out there.
Facts.
Because we're not. And if you don't want to talk to him, let me talk to him. Because I've seen it firsthand with my son. I saw it myself. I was just so radical that you couldn't even move me that way.
Right.
You can't shoot nobody at me talking about whatever, because I'm going to check your story out and I'm going to check you out. And first and foremost, I don't need you to think you quote unquote tutoring me, because then what that means is something else going to happen. Because you're trying to get in. Because you might see that I potentially can have some other stuff and go some other places.
Facts.
So when we sending these kids to these schools, and we're not sending them to HBCUs because there ain't no money in them,
right?
According to what we think,
right?
So so then what message are you saying? Oh, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be part of the system. And then when something goes wrong, and this young man don't have no support, so he takes his life.
But look how they did him. He knew he was finna get railroaded. And then for the police, and this what I be meaning when we talking about they want to act like racism not real. Was that police jealous? Because he don't act like, because it was down in Louisiana, right. They didn't know who that brother was.
Right, because he was driving a green Hellcat.
Yeah,
like so green Hellcat, right.
And that's what you have to face.
Right.
See, a lot of people don't want to be admitting like what be going on. They do not, and I hate to say it, but this is what you gonna experience. Them police officers that come grab you can lie on you. Now I wonder what they gonna do to the young lady and that police officer.
Nothing.
Them
they gonna walk away. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me throw y'all something else. Now, if I had done this same thing, and I'm not saying that I have and will, because I don't believe in it.
Right.
There's a teacher who gets a slap on the wrist for having an inappropriate relationship, and this is local, inappropriate relationship with a student.
Wow.
He don't get no time.
Wow.
No time, nothing. He gets a probation.
Wow.
Meanwhile, if it had been somebody else that don't look like him, the opposite color of who he is, they would have never seen the light of day. This is the disparity in the level of justice that don't happen for us, but happens to us.
Right.
So eventually he'll probably be able to get all of that stuff. I think he got a register as a sex offender. But that's still not going to stop the fact that he can't open up somewhere and go teach whatever he was teaching before somewhere else.
Just look at the Catholic Church.
Man. So then why in the hell are we still participating in this insanity?
And look at the police. All they're going to do is probably move him to another department in another city. And he can still, because how many times have he got away with this? Because don't think this was his first time.
No, heck no, this ain't his first time. He was just dumb enough to have his camera on in order to record what he did with the girl.
And that's so diabolical. He should get the electric chair for that.
Because he took a life.
Yeah,
and her too.
And the NFL is wrong too.
Yep.
Because y'all went right along with it like he was already guilty and didn't even let the boy come to the comp. But see, this is what they tell you, get showed every day. Everybody want to act like they don't see no racism.
Man,
like it don't see no racism. Man, they want to keep BSing with us. They don't see them bringing the National Guard to mostly colored neighborhoods, cities.
I was just in DC. We saw it around there.
So let's don't act like, but see, this is what they've been wanting though. See, you know you'll get in trouble. And this is when you can tell a person racist. When they tell you, when you can sit up there, they get mad because they want to, your neighborhood is bad. It is bad over there, but they're not going to tell you where the white neighborhood's this bad at.
Well, see, here's the other part about that.
Come on with it.
So how in the world did my neighborhood get to be bad?
Facts.
In the first place, but you still come through.
Right.
Whether you dump your trash in or you dump your garbage in the dump. Oh, yeah, well, dumping's illegal, but we ain't typically doing that.
Right.
What we may be doing is just, be dumb enough to throw stuff on the street, but we ain't dumping tires and we ain't going in the house cutting copper out and pulling wires and all of that. We ain't doing none of that.
They know who doing that.
Of course they do. Who was the one pulling manhole covers around here a few years back and taking them over to dang on a scrap? Man, it wasn't us. We wasn't pulling up manhole. We ain't got that type of time, nor we want to be bothered pulling up garbage like that.
But they would say that though.
Of course, it's always implied.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna say it.
It's always implied because in the fabric of this of color are criminals.
Yeah.
But yet you constantly using this. Yeah. You can't play nothing on TV without hearing our music.
Right.
You can't do in TV, radio, whatever. It's all got something to do with and I'm not saying folks may not have their rhetoric. Right. But your rhetoric is not based in truth. Your rhetoric is based on propaganda. That was a lie in the first place.
Right. Yeah, you can see it, man. Just look at the stuff, the BS that you see going on. Like I say, we probably got plenty of these stories, but it ain't nothing new.
No.
How you go? You know what I'm saying? Because you know why he can go to her? Because she didn't see no value in that brother life.
No,
because she didn't see her. She didn't see her race. Let's just be honest. Anytime when you go, because just say this, if that was I'm being honest, if that was another white person, if that player, you think she would have been able? No, I'm not going to do that. He didn't do it. Right. But for her to do it, she was like, oh, it's a nigga. Let's be honest.
But see, this is the thing, and once again, that comes to the point. For us is when we start talking about HIV, then we got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing that. We have to stop being hood infected viruses.
Fact.
Where, okay, if you ain't gang banging, then you ain't tight. Well, you know what? A week or so ago, I run across a young man and that was coming from, and he was all teared up or whatever, because you sitting around there being dumb with your friends. But where your friends at now when you walking out of court with a piece of paper and you sniffling? Your boys ain't here. Stop being a dumbass. And we're not saying that. We're not being involved in our children's life to say, look, you out of order. I'll never forget. I told my son the same thing my daddy told me. Go to jail if you want to and become somebody's cigarette boy. I don't give a damn. Now, if you go to jail because of something righteous that you did, defending your family, your sisters, whatever, that's one thing. But if you go to jail being out there being a dumbass, I'm not crying for you in court because I told you better than that. I'm not coming. I don't care how long they send you. I don't care what they do to you because you made a choice. And we're not saying that. We're not being hard and cold with our young people and with ourselves. Because most of us, because we own some HIV BS, hood infected virus stuff, y'all get to understand that we ain't talking about the disease, but it's a disease for us. If we sit around here and tell our children nobody gives a damn about you, nobody's gonna come and save you, your boys ain't your boys like you think they're your boys, because ain't nobody gonna sit in that courtroom, ain't nobody gonna put no money on your books, then when do you stop that dumbass behavior? The same dumb shit that happens in the classroom happens because people allow it to happen because we want to be soft. Why? Because you're feeding the system. You're feeding a hungry system that don't want you in the first place. But if we want to stay here, we have to move differently. I'd be damned if I'm standing in front of a dog and fire hoses. Them motherfuckers gonna get shot. Fuck that. I told you y'all morning couple bro was gonna be strong this morning.
You talk about a water gun, family water gun. We don't.
No, we ain't. Well, okay, no.
YouTube,
because if you try and go ahead on and give me and send a dog at me for no reason, and you think I'm marching, I'm gonna march all right. I'm gonna march, come see you.
It'll be a Nerf water gun.
There you go, Nerf water gun.
Nerf water gun.
That's right. All it is. That's right.
I want them people coming at me.
No, that's right. No, these are not views of 18 News.
Facts.
But we have to. Because why? Because we're still taking the same ass whooping, and we shouldn't be. We know better now.
Right.
We know better. If there are things that are not going to be done right and righteous in our community, we have to go out there and work and change them. The young man I was just telling you about, I text him a couple times, 3-4 times. Now, in a minute, I'm gonna stop texting him because if I don't get no response from you, I don't want nothing from you, young man. I promise you, if you listening or somebody tell you know who you are, right? I don't want nothing from you. I ain't one of them men. I care, but something in God told me to stop and talk to you. And I did. I hit you up a couple times. I don't hear nothing. If I keep on not hearing from nothing from you, I'm not gonna hit you up no more. And I don't want to hear shit from you when you get in a crisis, because we're trying to avert the crisis. Just even here, when you got stuff that's going on and they got stuff going on in the jail or whatever, and they have these programs in the jail, how are you really talking to these young people so they don't go back and visit the jail and give them more time and more money?
Right, and then why I got to get the message? I can learn out here better than I can learn in there.
Man, what?
Like, don't get me wrong. See, what I don't want people see, and to me, and they know what they're doing.
Children. Right.
You don't want to. You impression on a young person's mind. That shouldn't be no thing. Well, okay, if you go to jail, the ones who did go through the programs, you did come out with something cool. But let's don't say you got to go in here to get it. Let's give it to them while they out here.
Man, as a matter of fact, you should be the one, since you've been through that shit, to stop anybody else from going to jail.
Yeah.
Why stop giving your time away. You all should be the perfect one to say, look, this ain't what you want.
Facts.
Just like that one young brother that said he gave 21 years, went in at 16, come out at 38.
Terrible.
And he out there breathing on these young people. He in Newport News, Virginia. He out there breathing on these young people. But most of them, I hope, listen to him. Because he's telling them this ain't what you want. But we need to be saying that across the board every single day, all the time. Stay away from this mess where people want to make you sick because they got HIV.
Yeah, but why he not getting... He should be getting so much support.
No, you can't tell him no.
No, I'm talking about the brother.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm saying he should be getting some, because what he doing. But I'm willing to bet you he fighting them. He running to a resistance in his neighborhood.
You already know why, because there are people who are boule who want to make sure that that's how they get paid. It's like you got all of these people around here with all of these so-called 501s,
right?
And therefore none of our young people should be ever getting in trouble. If you got 501s supposed to be community based.
Even these programs, going to BLM, going to NAACP, going to NAN, any of these black organizations and the condition that you see the city in. But see, a lot of time, and I, like I say, and I'm gonna have Brother Roberts on tomorrow morning anyway. We're gonna have a conversation about.
I'm gonna try and listen to it while I get students.
We're gonna get off into that, because if you go look at the organizations back in the 50s and 60s, they was threats to the power structure.
So therefore, don't forget now, not only were they threats to the power structure, but you had the big six that would go up there and go to the White House, which meant that they were negotiating some things differently.
Right.
So therefore, the progress was slow because they had to begrudge some things.
Mm-hmm. No, that's why I'm saying, when you seen the Black Panther Party, the big six was really to calm them down.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
So let's really make sure we're real clear about that.
Facts.
Let's make sure we're real clear about that, because when you had the big six and they was taking their time and dragging their feet and this and that and other, then you had other groups, SNCC, Kwame Ture, the Black Panther Party, and Bobby Seale and Huey Newton and all them other brothers going like, no, we're not waiting no more.
Right.
Okay, so no, we're not waiting. Even James Baldwin was like, look, how long do we have to wait? My parents waited, my grandparents waited, my great-grandparents waited, and you still making us wait. So at what point in time does this not force us to become community and say, oh, look, on my block, this is how we're going to operate? Hey, man, I know you and your people may be having spats, but I need y'all to come up there with something a little different, do stuff a little different. Hey, man, I live here. I get that. But listen, bro, we trying not to make sure that you go to jail or somebody get hurt.
Fact. But see, that's the reason I brought them up. See, they was educating the people back then.
Right.
And you see, they was getting crowds. Why the people not getting, why these organizations can't gather the people or wake them up now?
People are clear that they have another agenda.
Okay, that's the reason I was bringing up come back then to compare it to now.
There's another agenda.
Yeah, you see the
agenda. And it's a weak agenda. It's got absolutely nothing to do with solidifying the community and having us move differently. No, yes, we're very home. That's the reason why we got so many goddamn churches here and ain't shit getting done.
Facts.
Because you're talking about waiting for you to die in order to do something instead of being activists like they used to be.
Yeah, no, because they preaching that. That's to me, that's that slavery preaching.
It is absolute slave.
When you die, you're gonna go see God, you're gonna go see all your loved ones.
You can't look at God in the mirror when you wake up in the morning, wash your hands, face, brush your teeth. I'm sorry, let me say that one more time. You don't wake up in the morning and see God, because the only way to understand God outside of you is to see the God inside of you.
And they don't understand that.
They're not going to teach that, because there ain't no principle.
Right.
If you're willing to read instead of just willing to listen to somebody else tell you what it is it's supposed to say. No, that means you might have to get more than one different version of the Bible that you're reading, because there's another version written by Dr. James Cone that says something completely different. And it's got historical fact based on the inside as well. That's the one I go by. I don't go by one somebody else, because this one has some historical notation done by an African man in America. Here, his name is Dr. James Cone. For those of y'all, go get that Bible. That's got something different in it, because it's got historical notation in it as well.
But see, a lot of times when the people read the Bible anyway, they thinking of what 2,000 years ago, we're gonna go with Jesus, right? Peace and blessings on the brother. They not understand this. Let's go. The Bible only go back 6,000 years. First of all, see, people want to go. The one that we read that they give us. It's only gonna go back and see how far I go back. They'll tell you it's only 6,000. So I'm gonna try to say, but when you got African kingdoms that go back 50,000 years, that's why I'm like, so because they come in with the dating of Christianity, right?
Right.
I'm just saying, when you go back and look at it, see, a lot of people looking at back then and not looking at your future, because it did say in the book it was gonna be a mystery Babylon, right?
Well.
Then they say it was going to be a people that was going to be in captivity. Because right now you got the country not the country, you got the people thinking they the chosen ones. I'm just saying, we being honest. I'm not trying to go in there. You going by the book, right? But shouldn't you be able to line up what the book say?
I don't think people have the level of background thinking to understand it. Because if you've got a set of cultures that built the greatest structures that still to this day nobody knows how they were built. That they try and remove them from, because this is the way people not studying the history and where we come from, that people are trying to remove from the history of people and remove them from being African people, first and foremost. Then if you don't understand the connection between that group and the group that gave, because it clearly says in the first book that in Genesis that Moses was a priest of the temple of On, knowledgeable in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt. So that means if we use that he is African. The story that comes from there, the so-called Jews co-opt the story and turned it into something else. Now, because we co-opted the stories and turned them into something else to benefit this other Jewish culture that we created, but doesn't come to fruition until 1947, but because we co-opted the stories, then we're going to tell you that you're the one that's wrong, and Pharaoh didn't do this, and Pharaoh was this and that and the other. So everything in there, we're going to turn around and change to make you think that. So we change the propaganda, and we continue to change the propaganda until we get to the point where we have what we have now. That God, you ain't godly people. The only reason why you're going to be godly people is because we're going to enslave you. You had no concept of God when we were the first people that created the concept of God. And I had to understand the idea that we knew that there was a power that existed outside of us, but we had to be in balance with everything else in order to be able to understand that concept, in order to be able to be connected to that. Not I might have to do drugs and be a prostitute and do horrible things to people and all this other stuff. And then when I hit rock bottom, then I'll recognize God. But God was always there because I had to look in the mirror to find God in the first place. This church, I told y'all we was coming in order to find God in the first place. And then from that God that I see inside of me, I can connect to the God outside of me.
Facts.
Okay. Then I can connect to that God outside of me. And then there's the whole, well, as they say, now you got your kingdom. But why in the hell are we sitting around here not understanding that everybody else is making a kingdom off our backs? Once again, let's talk about Dorn Highway. That's the stretch between Dorn Highway and Center Road. You got 2 gas stations that sell liquor, 2 party stores that sell liquor in 1 mile area.
Facts.
Meanwhile, if you go down Miller Road, yeah,
you right.
You got 1 party store right there on Ninth Street. 1. Right. Over there where it's so-called affluent in our city. Come on, make that make sense, because you constantly want to continue to denigrate one group of people and dog one people out. So, and these people, though they know they shouldn't be doing it this, and I'm not saying don't get you a sip and a tip in order to be able to chill out.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be your everyday meal. And then you cheat most of them that because we are out of our mind are drinking garbage.
Right.
And this all ties in, folks. So pay attention. Right. This all ties in. So then you get to a point where, okay, so now I have to rely on my children in order to get me out of this situation.
Right. So
this young man who they sold this idea that you can get your family out of poverty, now you're dead. Now where's your family at?
Where they started at.
Right, because they was put all their hopes and dreams on your back. Not mine.
Right.
It's not my children's job in order to get me out of my situation. It's my job. Because if I recognize the God in me, then I can recognize the God outside of me. And then I can make that connection. And I ain't got to worry about my children. It's my job to make sure my children are going to be straight when they tell me it's time for me to go home to heaven to be with my family.
Let me clear. I'm not gonna say it's family porn. Now let me clear that up because we don't know. They might, but I'm just saying the pressure and going to jail, man. See, people don't. That's a lot, brother.
Well, because
they don't tell you what happened when you can go to jail. Just imagine, dude. This how corrupted this system is. Remember the 14-year-old they electrocuted.
They lied. George Stanton.
They lied on him. They had to sit him on some books because he was such young. These are the type of savages that we dealing with, and don't nobody want to admit this. But see, because I keep telling people, just because We in 2025 and Barack was president.
That was the worst sale ever.
That right there shows you these people will still play games. You don't think they'd be doing no public lynching. They forced this. They broke that brother, man. Because when they tell you go to that jail, they ain't gonna tell you when you go to jail. It's a possibility you're gonna get raped.
Right, all of that.
Can you imagine they raped? You get raped up here. They taking your manhood. This ain't nothing that they saying. That they turn you into savages.
Yep.
And that's what people not really saying. You got some who be strong minded that can come through that don't go into them the devil ways. But when they go in there, man, the things you hear some of the stories you be hearing how they get, man, they turn. But that's like no different than when you take knowledge, civilization. Just think about it when the people was in the cave, they got kicked out. They had to go to the cave and they went into they lost the knowledge. What did they become? Beast-like.
Right. Oh, well.
Crawling on their fours.
Yep.
When you lose the knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
And so like I like that parable. So what have we done? And then we don't go seek it because it's right there.
Right.
Even isn't there a verse in the Bible? And for some of y'all that's Bible scholars, which means I'm gonna have to break my Bible out. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna break my great grandfather's Bible out, which was written in 1926. So that's the version I'm gonna read. I'm not reading this new stuff.
Yeah, that King James. And King James wasn't even a moral individual. And they call it the holy book.
Yeah, well, that's because this is who you selling.
Right.
That's the reason why it's okay for a Catholic priest to rape children.
Right.
And then they just get moved because the morality of the church says we're just gonna move him over here so he can rape other children.
But it was never meant to be, it was never supposed to be no morality anyway in it. Constantine wasn't an Augustus.
No, it was right.
Constantine, he did that because Rome they was not finna be able to hold on any longer through military. So he wanted to rule through religion.
And so then that was the greatest military move ever.
A gangster one.
Right. That was the greatest military move ever. You took 2,500 priests from different parts of the world and forced them to acquiesce to your power because you killed them one by one or few by few until they acquiesced and gave you all of this information, these books that you could take and turn into a document to rule the world.
I might have to go out in the hallway and see if this got music in it. It was a clip from 1968. It was a black man interviewing one of the guys. It's on my page if y'all go to my Facebook. And when you hear how they talked about Negroes, said we had to educate them, they didn't know what they was doing and couldn't speak the language. Hell, you went over there and kidnapped them.
Right.
This is how you hear this white man talking. But people act like it wasn't a bunch of him like that out there.
And they still act like they ain't a bunch of him out there. There definitely is.
They act like, this country, it's not. If this country wasn't the way it was, why do you think the Democratic side have to come over there and get the minority vote to help them get across the finish line?
And it's here now. I'm glad you brought that up. Why in the world? We should be very clear about this.
Mm-hmm.
Every group will come running to you about something, you meaning us, about something to come and help them out. Meanwhile, what we do, we go running because now they are allies. No, they're not. Y'all not listening. What did Dr. John Henry Clark tell us? We have no friends. We have no friends. We don't have no friends. Some of our friends that look like us ain't our friends because we have to understand that's a system created boule stuff, right? Where you sit there and say, hey, look, I'm your friend, so we can help you get whatever we gonna get. No, you can't. Nope. And this system of mistrust that we've been given, run it. The system of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. You the man. My fault, big bro. My fault.
Make sure with no music. I'm going to set it up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we have to sit around there and now pick and choose because we've had so many people that were sent into our midst of us making groups that you don't know who to trust anymore. And they've done that on purpose by design. Because look, Marcus Garvey, the UNIA, they sent somebody in over 25 so-called dollars and destroyed the UNIA. Malcolm, same thing. Denmark Beast, Gabriel Prosser. They had somebody in there that would sell them out. That's how they found Nat Turner. Somebody sold them out and told them. No different than the only person that really got away with some stuff was Harriet Tubman. And I don't care what people want to say about her now. She ain't here to defend herself, so shut up. But historical records show that at least she tried to save some people. And then the other people that ran away, which was far greater than the 300 people she saved. And the most important thing about her was she was going back and forth over enemy lines to go get people out. And she fought for the Union Army as a nurse, and she would disguise herself to go into the Confederate Army on the Confederate side in order to be able to turn around and mess up stuff so that the Union Army could come in and mess them up. So those are part of our history. And now you got people say she didn't do this, she didn't do that, she changed her name. Don't nobody give a damn about none of that. The fact that the act happened is what's the most important.
Facts.
Okay. Just like Nova Scotia is mostly black because African people run away from slavery and ran north to Canada. And those of y'all have ever been to Detroit and go look at the Detroit River, there is a lighthouse on the Windsor side of the Detroit River that show where people would swim from one side of the river to the other side, however they got over it, whether they swim. And Detroit River is wider, and now that they have ships that go through there, and runs a little slower than it used to 200 years ago, and they would swim to come over here, come through Michigan, come through the city of Flint, and go north to get to Canada to get out of slavery, because there was slavery here in Michigan too. For those of y'all that don't understand, Willie Cass or William Cass, who a street is named after, a school is named after, was a governor. Yep, Cass Tech was a governor who owned slaves, and there were a few other ones.
Oh, they're gonna highlight they heroes, but them are heroes to them.
Yeah, like, and that's okay. They're supposed to be. Yeah. But then our heroes, we want to allow them to say they're not our heroes. We're a damn fool.
All right, you ready for me to play?
Oh, let's run this real quick.
Let me mute this and let me get this together.
When a slave came from Africa, he couldn't speak the language. He was totally untrained to do any job at all that would fit in with the civilization. Someone had to take care of him. Someone had to take care of him 24 hours a day. And it's pretty hard to do that unless you owned a person. So I think slavery just had to be in those early days.
Mr. Hasty, what was life like in those early days?
As far as the colored people were concerned, I feel that they were a good bit happier than they are now. They had less in the way of material things. But I can remember back in the 20s when I was a small boy, they were always singing at their work. They had a great sense of humor. And now today, they just don't seem to care much about that as they used to. And I think they've lost their sense of somewhat, which I deplore.
What do you think are the differences between the races?
I think there's a
because this is what we're gonna bring it back to, and I got you. We back live.
Okay, so just listen to that clip and the insanity in which this white man is saying the crazy shit that he's saying. This is the lying propaganda that they sit here and tell and believe over and over and over and over and over again. So they sit there and tell you that. And what we do is we go along with it by not making sure that we know a goddamn thing about who we are and where we come from. We lie?
Yeah, we lie.
Okay. That we I don't see. I just see my mouth. My fault. So they still believe that. That does not change their belief. That was in 1967.
And that just shows you, what I'm saying, but that they want us to believe that thinking right there, that's not prejudice.
But here's the thing. Black people believe the same dumbass shit. Thomas Sewell is one of them. And people read his books like it's gospel. Stop reading his shit. His shit is trash. Go read Dr. John Henry Clark. Go read Dr. Ben. Go read Dr. Arthur Schomburg. Go read Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Go read Booker T. Washington. Go read these other. Go read our list. None of that in our list says the same thing that he's saying. And I'm not being prejudiced. I'm picking books that's talking about uplifting our thinking. That's the reason why we have the book list that we have. It's about uplifting our thinking. Right. Not sitting there believing that, because many of us that believe that mess, we whitewashed.
And see, that's the type of thinking that's in the White House now. And
of
people
course.
don't want to believe. I'm not saying just Trump. Look at your Stephen Miller. See, it's that type of attitude that want to send, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we're going to send a National Guard over here. We're going to do this and that. We're going to send them here, but also send them to y'all neighborhoods where it's rough at.
What about, they not sending them over there because you don't have nobody that you're trying to get rid of over there.
Right, because they're not going to get rid of. See, when they see them, they see their family. Oh, distant cousin. When they see us, that goes back to that thinking.
That's right. But the thinking is propaganda.
Facts.
And once again, the propaganda was done. It's constantly being done. Yeah. Whether it be in movies, whether it be no matter what it is, right?
Right.
So not can affect the day was spent. Big Mama's house. Why you wearing the dressing and whatever?
Man.
Come on, bro.
And why you think he in trouble now?
See? Because maybe you talking about something different now compared to what you was talking about before, but still at the same time, for real, you wearing a dress?
But you know what it is.
Man, my nose is itching. What the heck?
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah, that's the buck breaking stuff that they're talking about.
That's what it is. You know what it was because he played the game.
Right.
Then he rivaled some to Hollywood. What he billing in Atlanta.
See? So now you got Bing Rames who played in.
I know what you're saying. He dressed up as the lady.
And that was later on in Chuck and Larry or whatever the name of that movie. Now, it was cool for them two to do that crazy movie, but why did you have to end up being this person? Because you played a hero in Rosewood.
Facts.
And then all of a sudden now, in order to get anything else, you got to do this stuff. Bing Rames, you 6'4", weight 290 chiseled. And you playing this other role. Training Day. You mean to tell me you get a damn Oscar for Training Day and you didn't get one for Malcolm?
Oh, Glory?
Or Glory? Because you portrayed somebody else that wasn't for them, so we had to break you and turn you into something else.
That was the movie Holiday Heart.
Who? For what?
Ben Rames when he dressed up as the woman.
No, that was not the one. It was called something with Chuck and Larry. But
this one, Holiday Heart, he was dressed as.
So this is another movie. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
But the first one that I saw him with, then that Adam Sandler and that boy from TV was in it.
But just think about this. Let's go back to Pulp Fiction. Why they had to have a part where he was getting raped?
See?
Like, where, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
But this is the propaganda stuff that we have that we're talking about, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna throw a name out here. There's a man named Oscar Micheaux who started Black Hollywood before it became exploitative and became black exploitation movies.
Facts.
Okay, because most of those black exploitation movies, if you don't see Pam Grier with no clothes on, then she ain't really doing stuff.
Facts.
Okay,
that's how they kept them.
Right, and so they had to keep her that way, right? Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. As my son just called me.
That's something they you can get an Oscar for a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Play, man. It's just the games they play with us. But that's Hollywood,
right? So if we're not part of that, right? Oscar Micheaux, everything he did was against racism. Everything that he did was had heroes. Everything that he did was showed what we did to be positive people in a positive image. Then here comes Birth of a Nation in 1915.
The president played it.
Right. And they even showed that in the White House at the time.
The president, who's supposed to be neutral.
Right. They showed that at the White House by Cecil B. DeMille, and yet you got Oscar Micheaux showing African people in this light, and they bury him in his films because that's not what they want to do. So what are we teaching our young people? We're teaching them nothing, because what's teaching them? The music, their peers, and everything else. What other message are they hearing? And I'm going to go back to what Miss Chilton said. We're glad that your son, as a single parent, you talk to your son, but most people ain't talking to their children. I had young people coming to school with no belt on, and they in the 2nd, 3rd grade. Why are you letting your kids come to school like that?
But they wanted the household broke down. Why you think? See, and this what it goes back to when they wonder why, blacks have like this thing when we be saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be saying racism." Look at the laws that was put in. You didn't want the father in the household. First, you came in. Well, you can't hit the child; they can call on you. But the police can get your child, whoop his ass, and kill him. But it's all right.
And they don't. Nothing happens to them. Nothing happens. So constantly, every single day, my son, I call him in the morning. Hey, be careful when you go to work.
Facts.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So we sit there and worry about our children. They have no worry.
No.
Because it's already been set up and programmed to them, and nothing's going to happen to them. Meanwhile, ours, we have to sit there and worry about every day. And they wonder the reason why. Well, in Black America, they die at the age of 12.
Yeah.
But because we sit up there and worry about every goddamn thing all the time.
Fact.
Because you put it not only in our head, but you show by your actions, the larger society here, because it's trash, that you show that we had to be concerned.
Yeah.
But when we controlled our own and had our own, we didn't have that.
No, but you see it. Why you think right now? Why you think the stuff that's going on? You know what I'm saying? They want to. They. Why you think they? I'm surprised. I found that on Facebook.
Yeah,
because you see how they trying to scrape all that stuff off.
All of
they
that
don't
stuff.
even want that on them no more to say you did bad. But guess what they gonna do to a black person as soon as he do something? They're gonna go dig up his history.
Man, the whole thing.
But they don't want you to dig up on there. Even with they killers, when they know they killers and did wrong, guess who get in trouble?
That one
black community.
Yeah, man,
no, the black community.
How in the world does something happen to somebody that we have nothing to do with, and then turn around now you attack because you're looking for something to attack the black community anyway?
And people don't understand. You got people talking about blacks in America right now, the youth.
Yeah,
the biggest threat to them.
Yep. All because of what? Part of the issue is their youth like to hang out with our youth.
And that's the problem.
Okay. Their youth like they young ladies like to hang out with our young men.
And they do. And they're males too, because they don't want them to take on.
Heck no.
That'd be like that mentality, because if you see the climate that's going on, a lot of people is not going along with the government doing. You got a lot of people questioning. Look at Trump with his own people, the Epstein files.
But if you're going to question it, don't question it. Stop it.
Oh, well, they're going to do it.
Okay, so then what you're doing is you flapping your gums and running your mouth about stopping it. But as long as you benefit from it, you straight.
Yeah.
And that's the deal right there.
Facts.
I benefit from what he's doing. And if people didn't benefit from what they were doing, they would stop it. The first 10 days he doing this and I didn't get no money out of that. They don't care nothing about the middle class and the poor.
Nah.
It's about the rich getting richer.
Yeah.
So therefore, so even one of his staunch supporters who started out with nothing,
right?
Now all of a sudden you become a millionaire by running your mouth,
right? And
yet before, if you wasn't making no money and you didn't have a platform, you would be like, no, I'm opposing that.
Yeah. Why you think the Behold Pale book, The Pale Horse? Remember, and this how I got broke down to me. They said when you be having them whistleblowers, they be coming out want to tell. That's because when they didn't get their stuff on, now they want to go tell everything that's going on.
That's what a whistleblower is. A whistleblower is a person that come across something across their desk, or they were snooping into something. They found out, they wanted their cut. They didn't get their cut. So now all of a sudden, I'm telling. Right. And if I don't get my cut, I'm gonna tell. If you give them their cut and they shut their mouth, cool. Yeah. But that's not what they did.
Yeah.
And I think with William Cooper, who was an admiral or commander or something like that.
Yes.
Eventually what happened was he got just so overloaded with all the stuff that was going on in the country that he was like, bro, we can't do this no more. This stuff is crazy. It's driving people insane with all of this and stuff that's going on here. He
was pushing stuff at first. Remember the stuff he was letting go through?
Yeah, because he was part of the command.
And then after, that's what I'm saying. How can you?
But that's Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll get on that, fellas. I got to bounce anywhere. We're gonna have. You got any closing words, brother? We're gonna come with fire come Tuesday.
Yeah,
we might have to come back on Tuesday and Wednesday with that, man.
Okay.
We got to double it up.
Listen, family, stop.
Council and Thursday.
Okay.
Council Wednesday. My bad. Go ahead.
Stop, family. Stop sending our children out into the freaking water with the crocodiles, and the only thing they got, you're not arming them with anything, because this boy should not be dead.
Facts.
Okay, he should have had enough communities around him that support around him to say, "Look, we're gonna get through this. We straight. We're gonna make it happen." And he did not, so he's dead. You should be talking to your children every day, and I know most of us do because y'all don't come up on this show. And I know y'all tell you, if you ain't talking to your own children, talk to somebody else's kids. And if people get offended, don't give a damn, because at the end of the day, they're not the ones that are trying to make sure that their children are safe anyway. If they say, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking to my kids about that," don't worry about them. Find somebody else to talk to, because not everybody. What the Honorable Marcus guy say, you don't want everybody on the boat to save you anyway.
Facts.
Because I don't want everybody on my boat, because somebody's going to be on there drilling holes in the bottom of the boat trying to get it to sink.
Oh, go tell on us.
Man, what? Oh, they building a boat. We got to go tell that. We got to go tell somebody they built a boat, even though I helped them with the wood. No. Let them die. Let them sink and die. We don't need them. All right, family. Be positive to yourself. See the God in you before you see the God out there. And while you're going up there listening, ask them some questions. All right, fam. Peace.
Peace. See y'all at 7 with Just a Thought.